yeah. That's it. Just there. Excuse me. Right. I'm ready. Clear my throat. How's your day going? The time 12 minutes past 7. That's in the UK. I thought I was going to have a rest. I can't rest. My father says, "You've got something to do, Joseph." I says, "Oh no." "What now?" "You've got something to tell. And you're going to enjoy it so much. But at the same time, the Jews are going to hate you. The Christians are going to hate you. Even the Muslims." "Why, Father?" "Why?" "Because of tradition. And what they've done is slot in the gods who wish to be Mashiach through centuries upon centuries, claiming to be born of a virgin. There are many who claim to be the true Mashiach, Messiah. Now let me ask you a question. Have you ever seen it from a Jewish point of view about the Messiah, the Mashiach? Have you ever wondered why Jews, my own brothers, my own nation, why Jews can't accept Jesus, Yeshua? Understanding the words of what was penned down originally helps us greatly. When we have a translation of an original word, there can be error. You all understand that, don't we? Okay. Now, for you Christians, would it be offensive to suggest that Jesus, Yeshua, really did have a fleshly, earthly father Would that make him any less divine if that was so? You tell me. If you are claiming to be one of the 144,000, it's in your washing machine, it's tumbling. If you heard that. So I've got spooks in the house. Don't you worry. I had a funny experience the other day. But I told them off. Somebody was trying to help us, but I said, look, stop it. Stop it. I'll not tell you what it was about. I have to deal with spirits, you know. I tell them off. Oh, yes. You think I'm mad, don't you? You think I'm mad. I know you do. Get back to the story. Come on now. Now then. Ancient text says, before the world was, this dimension, you were chosen. Before the world was. And you've come maybe twice to this earth. This is the second time. Maybe it's the third time. And each time there is progress of the human soul to the next stage, then the next stage. Yeah? If you can accept that you were divinely timed to be on this earth, your birth date, how did that happen? Father's in control of every single thing. No matter which way it goes, your spirit would have been put in an egg that became fertilized, has to be male and female, to come back, for the spirit to come back into the flesh of the DNA of Adam and Eve. So if you were going to, that's not hard to accept. After all, how did Jesus get here? He said he was from above. Did he not? Yes. If he's from above, and he was before Abraham was, I was. Maybe second time round when he came round. Maybe he was someone before that. Maybe came. Have you ever heard of Melchizedek? There's no genealogy for him. Who was he? Where is he from? Is he identifying marks of individuals as history unfolds? Now, if you can accept there is a possibility that your spirit, chosen before the earth, before everything was ever created, to come here, especially at this time period that we're living in right now, you were born for this. Did you realise that? Yes, you did. Now the Spirit flows from me. You will feel my Father's Spirit in the words. The words of the Spirit. And you will get great comfort, and you will experience great joy and love. Because my Father's Spirit dwells in this house. Yeah? Just as he does in your house. So it's not a far stretch to think, possibly, that the whole of Christianity has it wrong about a virgin birth. Now the Jews will be pleased about that, but they'll have a problem as well by the time I'm finished. And that's why they'll hate me as well. To even suggest that Yeshua had a father who was born in the line of King David and had a mother who was of the same lineage. Shock, horror. But if that's right, that's recorded in the book of Luke. There's 4 Gospels, remember? In the book of Luke and the book of Mark, the genealogy. One starts from Abraham forward, and the other one goes forward backwards to Adam. Right back to Adam. Father of so and so, father and so, father and so, right up to Jesus. So one's was Mary's, and the other one's was Joseph's. The line. Oh, now the Jews will say, that is. Yeah, we've caught him out because Joseph must have had sex with Mary before they were completely married. They were engaged to be married, but with the Jews, you couldn't have relations now until you were married. And you had to see the blood of the Virgin. Waiting for the day. Did they skip that? Did Joseph and Mary skip that? Even if they did, it does not get away from the count that the line of David, Yeshua, Jesus, really is, according to the flesh, to be a king. Legally. By blood. I'm going to play you something here. It's a man called Tovia Singer. Yes, he's Jewish. Well, he brings over some very interesting points about the original words, whether it meant virgin, maiden. What was it? Or was it just a young girl? Listen to the way he reasons with a Christian who has challenged him on this issue of the virginity of Mary. Yes, she was a virgin, but the whole issue in the Jewish tradition is you should not have had relations before you were married. Yes, you're engaged to be married. You've broke a law. Very serious. Blacken the name of Mary and Joseph in the community. And especially being born in a line of royalty. Yeah. True royalty. And his cousin as well. Born in royalty. John. These were royal blood lines. But the Jews would frown upon it. And see, that makes Yeshua a bastard. Aye? Bastard. You're a bastard, you. Chase them out of town. Get out of town. You're not welcome here. And so that's what happened. The true history of what these two went through is shocking. It will be revealed one day how his father had to take Jesus on his missions, his travelling tours, his business adventures, to get him out of the way of the trouble and all his, you're a bastard, you, Jesus. Up to the age of 12, he disappeared off the scene with his father. That's the truth. Now you can walk away from us if you like. Go on. Joseph of Arimathea was the only one who had the permission to take the body down from the cross. The Romans were so strict. Has he expired? Make sure. Yes, the report comes back. Make sure that everything's secured. Even the cave, the rolling stone must be secured, because they're going to say in 3 days he will raise from the dead. Yeah. Joseph of Arimathea, the father who had to go to hiding away from the Sanhedrin out of shame. But he didn't feel shame. They made him as if he should feel shame. For doing what? Supporting his son through the trial. Through the trial. Just 2 of them. 2 faithful ones. A secret disciple. It was his father. He had to be in hiding. Don't you get it? This is the truth. I'm telling you the truth. I want you to listen. Walk away from us, you Christians. Go on. Blasphemy. Go on, do it. See if I can. Go on, do it. Listen to this. Tovia, tell us about the original Hebrew words for maiden. That's in English. Virgin. Tell us, Tovia singer. Now, when I start this, the guy comes on, a Christian, right? If Tovia singer watches this, I'll remind him who this sounds like. Peter Abraham. He had a tussle with him in the centre of Jerusalem. Peter Abraham. Sounds like him. Did you not recognise his voice? Tovia? Listen. Peter Abraham. He caused some problems in Jerusalem, Peter did. So he's really. Right. Come on.
Man, you guys just never quit. Okay, I'm in Deuteronomy 22:14, King James only. Deuteronomy 22:14, and give occasions of speech against her, and bring up any evil name upon her, and say, I took this woman when I came to her, I found her not a maid. King James says maid. Guess what it says on Kabbalah.org? I took this woman, and when I came to her, I did not find any evidence of virginity for her. Huh? Look at that. You used virginity. It must not be alma.
Right.
But the word is synonymous with maid, virginity, and maid. Yep. You got holes in your little screen, buddy. You got holes in your garment. You're wrong.
Right. Okay. Well, that's very insightful. It's interesting. So, first, thank you very much for your call. And I think you kind of gave it away right at the beginning when you said that you're a King James only guy, which means that you place the King James, a translation that was published in 1611, 47 men in good standing with the Church of England translated the Tanakh, and I use the word translated in quotation marks, the Hebrew Bible and the New Testament into English. They translated it into Jacobean English. It's not as difficult as, that's not as foreign as, let's say, Middle English, which you would probably not understand, but Jacobean English you would. But it has, Jacobean English, the King James, employs many anachronisms, but in that you would place.
When you need to punch holes and measure at your office or home, you usually need to use two different tools, a hole punch and a...
Why don't you just...
That was published in 1611, 47 men in good standing with the Church of England translated the Tanakh, and I use the word translated in quotation marks, the Hebrew Bible and the New Testament into English. They translated it into Jacobean English. It's not as difficult as, that's not as foreign as, let's say, Middle English, which you would probably not understand, but Jacobean English you would. But it has, Jacobean English, the King James, employs many anachronisms, but in that you would place...
Come on, get the point, Toby.
A Christian King James Bible written a dozen years after the Merchant of Venice, you would place that above the Word of God is mind-blowing. It really is. It's interesting, intriguing that you raised Isaiah 22, and I think just some explanation is necessary here. So, as it turns out, 2 out of the 27 books in the Christian Bible claim that Jesus was supernaturally conceived. You'll find this, what's called an infancy narrative, in 4 chapters out of 89 chapters in the Gospels. 2 chapters in Matthew, 2 of them in Luke. What's striking about Matthew is that Matthew has the I don't even know the right word for it. Matthew actually claims that the book of Isaiah foretold that the Messiah was to be conceived to a virgin, and that was the sign. And whoever wrote the book of Matthew has this so wrong and completely mistranslated, deliberately mistranslated Isaiah 7:14. And there are things he did that he doesn't even realize, because that's what happens when you're messing with text. So Isaiah 7:14 says, Hine ho'alma hara v'yoledes bein, that behold, the young woman is with a child, present tense, definite article, v'karas shemo Emmanuel, and she will call his name Emmanuel. Emmanuel means God is with us. In this case, Emmanuel is conveying to the southern kingdom of Judah. At that time, Israel was in the midst of a civil war, and that God was going to protect the southern kingdom of Judah. Not because Achaz was so righteous or deserved it, but rather because the Davidic dynasty must be preserved. God made a promise to King David, going back to 2 Samuel chapter 7, verse 12 through 16. So Matthew famously mistranslates the word Alma. Alma means a young woman. King David says, Hiksarta Yemei Alumov, you have cut off the days of my youth. It doesn't mean virginity. King David wasn't a virgin, and King David is also called an Elam, the masculine version, in 1 Samuel chapter 17, verse 56. Was he also a virgin? How silly. Is there any Christian translation? Does your cherished King James 1611 translate these words as a maid or a virgin? The answer is, of course not. Because they're playing a game. They're playing the game called hide the ball. They're playing with the Word of God. And then they wonder, why Jews don't believe in Jesus, or find it very uncompelling. And the reason is because the whole thing's a scam. The sign, this is what Matthew completely flubs it, and Christians don't get it. The sign is not the conception of the child. There are some Christians who object and say, well, if a regular young woman conceived, then, and there's nothing supernatural, nothing unusual about how she conceived, or rather she conceived naturally, then there's no sign there. There's no sign, because, of course, young women can get pregnant. I'm not going to say it's dumb. It's not dumb. These are good people. They just don't know. They mean well. The sign is not the conception or birth of the child. The sign is in verse 15 and 16. Butter and honey will the child eat when he knows to reject bad and choose good. For before he matures, these two kings, namely Pekach ben Ramayo, who was the king of the northern king of Israel, and Ritzin, who was the king of Syria, not Assyria, but Syria. And that was an alliance, an ill-conceived alliance. Okay. So this is all very silly. The sign is not the conception of the child, the birth of the child. It's the maturity of the child. Now, the proof you are bringing me, you're a Christian, you're bringing me, and it's very insightful to say that I have holes in my, nose? What did he say? Whatever. The Torah, the context it's Deuteronomy chapter 22. The context is the laws concerning sexual relations. This pasuk is dealing with the case of a person who is Moitzi Shemra, who says something about a woman that she's not a virgin, and he discovers that while he's having intercourse with her. V'sam lo alilois devarim, and he he accused her of misconduct because of his speech. V'hoitzi shemra, and release a negative shemra, a negative name, meaning he